What's up, YouTube? Happy New Year! So, if you don't know by now, I'm Lenny. Welcome to my channel. So, I trust that you would have enjoyed your New Year's celebrations and that you entered into this 2016 year with an energetic and positive mindset, ready to accomplish and achieve all of your set goals and dreams. Now, today, I'm going to be talking to you about how to cope or how to manage or work in a negative or a toxic work environment. So if you're interested in hearing about that, then stay tuned. Now, a toxic or a negative work environment makes you not feel like going to work. Your alarm clock could go off in the morning and you will turn it right off and start praying to God like, God, please let today be a holiday. I don't want to go to that place. I can't stand that place. Or if you get to work, as soon as you get to work, you want to go back home or you want to go somewhere else, anywhere else but your workplace. Sometimes you're sitting at your desk and you're staring at the office clock and you're like, damn, time is moving too slow. Come on, is it time to go yet? I want to get out of here. Come on, time, work with me, work with me. So if you're one of those people who really dread going into work, or you hate your job, you would like to change your job, but you can't leave yet, or you just don't like being around some of your coworkers because of their attitudes and their behaviors, or you just don't like your work environment because it's just toxic. The energy there is just not the type of energy that is promoting your mental health or promoting your well-being or your health. Or if that's the type of environment that's draining you physically, mentally, emotionally, then maybe it is that you are really in a toxic environment. So what is a toxic environment? Now, a toxic environment is the type of environment where you have an abundance of malicious or destructive gossip and chatter. In this environment, you will find that there are cliques or little groups of co-workers that always congregate to talk about other co-workers or to run down the leadership or the management of the company or anything at all that goes on in the office. These little groups or these cliques always have something to say about it, and it's never something positive. It's always something on the acid side or the negative side. Also, in a toxic environment, you will find that you have passive-aggressive leaders or laissez-faire leaders, or leaders that don't take charge, or they procrastinate, or they lose important documents, or they don't remember important events, or they choose to turn a blind eye to situations that occur that need dealing with, or they choose to pretend as if they don't know about things that go on in the office that are detrimental to other individuals. They're sort of like anything goes, whatever, I don't care. Or your environment is also toxic if there is an abundance of fighting or tearing down. So there's no support for project ideas, or if the project ideas are presented, then there is a sabotage. They try to tear it down. They try to make sure that a perfectly fine idea never ever prospers. And then these same people who are trying to tear down your perfectly fine project or your perfectly fine idea don't have anything better to present. They just want to tear it down or fight it down because they don't like who's presenting it, or they don't like how it was presented. So they attack the project or the idea in hopes of attacking the individual. Now, if you are surrounded by all of this, what we call melee, then you are indeed working in a toxic environment. So how are you going to cope with working in a toxic environment? Now, the first thing that you may be thinking about doing is to just get out of there. You just want to run. You want to go to a place where you don't hear, see, or smell your office building or your coworkers. You just want to be so far gone from them that you don't even remember them. Now, in the event that you just can't get away from that toxic environment and from your toxic coworkers, because you have obligations, you have things that you have to do, you have strings that are tying you to the job in the meantime, you need to know how to cope in that environment. So how do you cope? What can you do? Now, the first thing that you can do to cope in a toxic environment is to separate yourself from the negativity. Separate yourself from the negativity by surrounding yourself with some positive people, with positive mindsets, people who have a vision or a mission, or who are working on something, people who are not small-minded to sit around in groups and talk negatively about other people or bring down the company further or bring down the leadership. People who are speaking about empowering people or strengthening things, people who are talking about building things. Surround yourself with some positive energy and positive people. If it is that you sit in a cubicle, you can stick up some positive quotes on your cubicle walls and look at these quotes and say some positive things every now and then. If you don't have a cubicle and you're sitting at a desk and next to your desk are other desks, and the other desks happen to be the negative co-workers, then you can stick some of your positive quotes on your desk and recite them often, glance at them to remind yourself of who you are and what you stand for. You might say, well, I'm sitting at my desk and around me these negative people are right here, and they talk and they chatter and they carry on and they laugh and they have a grand old time. What am I supposed to do? You can of course get up and go to another section or another area of your office space or your office building or your work environment. If you say, well, I can't move, I don't have anywhere else to go, it's my desk space, that's all I have, then you can go to work with your headphones, insert it in your phones, listen to some music, listen to some gospel or some jazz or some instrumentals. Get something that will soothe your soul. If you say, well, they're still continuing to talk and chatter and they're talking louder than my music in my ear, then you can choose to just confront them. You can choose to say, excuse me, can you please be quiet? I'm trying to work here. Or can you take that down a bit? Or can you just not talk about what you're talking about, because I would rather not hear this negative thing that you're saying. Address it or confront it. The next thing that you can do is to have something else going on in your life. So instead of just having work and home, how about having a class to go to after work? So if you know you like Latin dancing, join a Latin dancing class and go to that class and enjoy yourself. Make sure and join a class where you do not have to see your co-workers, because you don't want anything to remind you about them after you leave the workplace. And when you leave the workplace, leave all that work drama behind. Don't take it home with you, because it's only going to stress you out and drain you. So find something that you like to do. Have something else going on. Something else that you can look forward to. So it might be your Latin dancing class, or if you like floral arrangements, join a floral arrangement class. Learn how to do floral arrangements. Do something else so that when you get to work the next day, you have something to look forward to at the end of the day, so that your mind is not always focused on the negativity or the toxicity that's around you, right? You can also work on getting out, and this may be the thing that you love, the thing that you want to hear. Getting out. So while you're working at this job, you can be actively searching for another job. There's nothing wrong with that. Work on getting another job, but don't go saying it around the office, hey, I'm working on another job, I'm gonna get out of here. Or don't announce it in a loud outburst if somebody frets you in the office. So let's say somebody says something about you and they tick you off. Don't blow up and say, I'm getting out of here, I'm gonna get another job, I'm working on it now, I'm getting out of here, because that might get you fired. And remember that you're trying to keep this job to probably pay your bills or do whatever it is that you have to do while you're working on getting another one. So ensure that you work on getting another job, but you do so smartly. Now you can also work on improving yourself. That's one way of getting out. Sometimes you may have little qualification for the position that you're in, so you can't advance higher up in the company. If you want to advance higher up so that you move away from your current toxic environment, you can work on improving yourself. So take classes after work so that you can actually apply for a higher position and get it and get out of that toxic position that you're in. Or if it is that you need a complete break away from the toxicity that you are now in, you can apply to go study and actually physically leave the office or workspace that you're in and go study, go advance yourself, work on improving yourself and keeping yourself positive, so that wherever you go and that whatever you do, your positive energy will be there, right? Another thing you have to bear in mind is that you should absolutely stay away from those meddling, toxic coworkers. Now, they are everywhere. You're going to find one or two or three or five in every office space. Learn how to discern them and stay away from them. They're going to drain you. They're going to drain your spirit. They're going to drain your energy. They're going to always want to talk about the office drama, and that's just going to weigh you down. Remember, you're trying to get out of that place, or you're trying to just cope and do your work without having to be drawn into the toxicity or the negativity. So beware of negative coworkers. So in closing, don't let your negative or toxic environment drive you crazy or make you think that you're losing your mind. Also, don't allow it to drain you. Don't allow it to take your positive vibe or your positive energy from you. Don't allow it to take the smile from your face. Don't allow it to take the spark in your step. Don't allow it to rob you of your creative talents. And if it is, I forgot to mention this, that you're working in a place where you feel like your resources are not being used, then my advice to you is to actively try to work on getting out of that workspace. Because if your creative talents and your creative energy is not being used, you're gonna start to dwindle little by little by little. And especially if you're a person who is so accustomed to being flamboyant and being used and useful, make certain that you work on getting out on that negative work environment. So this is where I'm going to end my video today. I hope that I would have given you a tip or two that could help you work or cope in your negative or toxic work environment. Remember, don't allow your negative environment to define who you are. I know that sometimes you can be ashamed of saying that you work at that particular place because of how negative or how acid it is. But don't allow it to define who you are. Keep saying positive things, keep reminding yourself of who you are, and represent your positive self always. So I'm gonna see you next Wednesday, but until then, be you, be true, and let your authentic self shine. Bye. What's up, YouTube? I'm Lenny. Welcome to my channel. So we're almost at the end of 2015, and I hope that you had a fabulous year. But if you didn't have a fabulous year, don't lose courage, because guess what? A new year is quickly approaching, and this is going to